Hey y'all, it's Heel Heat time.
Hi everybody and welcome to Heel Heat. This is our Ring of Honor show for the week. My name is George Coles and let's jump right into it. First match we had is for the 2014 Top Prospect Tournament, Rhodes versus Congo. Now we've seen a little bit of both these guys on Ring of Honor before, not a whole bunch. I'm more familiar personally with Rhodes. I've seen some of his other work outside of Ring of Honor. Both seemed very impressive. Congo, if you haven't seen him, is kind of a quasi-Samoan, Kamala-style gimmick. He hails from South America. Rhodes picks up the big win, advances into the tournament. A great opening match with two guys that aren't really familiar to the Ring of Honor crowd. Like I said, they've done a couple shows here and there. If you guys remember last year, this is a tournament that Matt Taven won and ended up breaking out and becoming the TV champion shortly afterwards. Now off of that, we had Michael Elgin came to the ring, which brought out Chris Hero, which brought out Kevin Steen, all talking about the world title picture and how they deserve a world title shot, which leads to our main event later in the night, which would be Chris Hero versus Kevin Steen. Off of that, we had the benchmark Bill Daly, one of the guys that's probably a top contender to win the tournament coming into it for the top prospect tournament, came out and took himself out of the tournament. Thus could have given Corey Hollis the win from forfeit. However, his partner Mike Posey in Alabama Attitude said, why don't we go up against each other? Corey Hollis wrestles Mike Posey. Awesome match. I enjoyed everything about it. I know Alabama Attitude is a really good up-and-coming team on the independent circuit. Both these guys got a big future. Bill Daly as well, the benchmark. A little upset to not see Bill go through in this tournament, but I think they're going to do bigger things with him. Him saying he was better than the tournament kind of is going that way. Corey Hollis picks up the win. Great match on the show altogether. Both of the top prospect tournaments. I keep wanting to say top of the mountain, but I don't know why. Both of the top prospect tournament matches were really good on the show, which brings us into our next match, which isn't one of the top prospect tournaments. Caprice Coleman versus Jay Lethal. They showed the backstory of Caprice Coleman and Cedric Alexander breaking up as CNC Wrestle Factory amicably to become solo stars. This match was 100 times better than I thought it would be. In CNC Wrestle Factory, Caprice kind of took the back seat and let Cedric Alexander, who was a guy he trained, be the star of the team. Whereas this time, Caprice was able to fully let go and be Caprice. And him and Jay Lethal put on one hell of a match. Everything that Lethal did, Caprice had a counter for. Everything Caprice did, Jay Lethal had a counter for. I thought this was an amazing match, a great match. For someone, I thought that they were going to write off and let go into the sunset. Caprice Coleman being an older wrestler, maybe going to managing, because he does have a heck of a gift of talking. However, this shows me that Caprice can go on and become someone that's a world title or in the world television title picture, either picture actually. And Jay Lethal stated as much himself that he's wants a shot at Tommaso Ciampa, who's challenged him. Surprisingly, the TV champion, challenging somebody else, which is kind of a refreshing take on the old you challenge the champion thing. Awesome match, awesome way to lead into our main event, which could easily be described as an indie wrestling fan dream match. Chris Hero versus Kevin Steen. I thought it was a really solid match. Thought it was a little bit shorter than I would have liked it to be. With the 4 matches on the show, the only match that I thought was, they all were not bad in lengthwise, but the only match that got an extended period of time was Coleman versus Lethal. This one was seemed a little bit rushed. Maybe they're saving it for another event down the line where we see Hero versus Steen with more on the line. The Decade comes out to distract Hero, which is Jimmy Jacobs, BJ Whitmer, and Roderick Strong. They distract him. Steen picks up the win, which afterwards the Decade comes to try and attack. Hero fights him off. Steen's walking towards the back, and a fan jumps the guardrail. Lo and behold, it's Cliff Compton. Building again on Cliff was part of Scum. Kevin Steen helped destroy Scum. So I don't know if they're picking up on that storyline, or this is how they bring Cliff Compton back into Ring of Honor. I thought it was a really good angle. It reminded me of kind of like Bill Watts Mid-South, where they would leave you at the end of the show, they'd leave question marks. So you'd have to tune in next week to see what happened or what was going to happen next. And that's what they did with this show, and I thought it was a really good way to end it, with Cliff Compton jumping the guardrails and attacking Steen, which sets up a feud going forward. You know, everything about the show I thought was interesting. The Top Prospect Tournament, introducing us to some new wrestlers, some new talent. Some of us are familiar with, some of us aren't. Some I'm more familiar with than others. Alabama Attitude, of course, I'm more familiar with them. Congo, not so much. I've seen him a couple times. I am impressed by a man of his size and what he could do in the ring. Raymond Rowe, I really enjoyed his work as well. The few times that I've seen him, probably about 10 times total, he's impressed every time. Caprice Coleman blew me away. He was 100% better than I thought he was going to be in his match with Jay Lethal. I'm not saying that I don't think Caprice was a great wrestler before. I always thought he would be as a great tag wrestler, not much in the solo department. To me, I thought he was going to be the Jannetty of the two. But he's shown that he could be just as successful moving forward. Gotta love that. Anytime you have a show that's main evented by Chris Hero and Kevin Steen, how could you go wrong with that? But we'll go right into our ratings for the show. Now, if you've seen the show before, we have a 1 to 5 scale, 1 being the best, or 5 being the best, 1 being the worst. I'm going to give the show a solid 4. The only thing that stopped it from being a 5 was I would have liked to see more of Hero versus Steen, maybe without the interference at the end. Like I said, maybe they're holding off that for a money match at a bigger show, maybe not, but to me it seemed a little bit rushed. Other than that, excellent television show, excellent tournament they got going on, great showing by Caprice and Jay Lethal. Don't discount him at all. Once again, proving that you should be, if you're not already watching Ring of Honor, you should be watching it. And if you don't get it on your cable provider, your satellite provider, go to their website. Every Thursday they release these shows. This show that I'm reviewing right now will be up Thursday. So I'm sorry if that's a spoiler for you, but still go watch it because it's still a good show even if you know the outcome. But basically that's all I have to say about that. My name is George Coles, and this has been another episode of Heel Heat.